Hey everyone, you're listening to Live with Necee. I am your host, Opal Bailey. Today I have with me Debbie Turner, the founder of Debbie Turner Cancer and Resource Center in Apopka, Florida. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing great. I am so excited that you are on my show. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So can you tell our listeners about yourself?
Well, I am a 17-year cancer survivor of brain cancer, only in readmission for 5 years, which I can actually say I'm cancer-free now. After a 17-year battle of 5 surgeries, 6 bouts of chemo, and 5 bouts of radiation. And I'm only 1 of 3% in the state of Florida who has lived through brain cancer.
Wow, that's amazing. Just that alone is enough for us to just stop right now. Can you tell me how did you deal with finding out when the doctors told you what was going on?
Well, back then, I can actually say there wasn't a lot of knowledge because I was young, and there wasn't a lot of resources. So when they told me I had cancer, I was thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I had a daughter at home at that time, and the hard part was I thought cancer grew in older people, and then you died. I had no knowledge of what the disease was or anything like that. So it was pretty devastating. When the doctor told me it was already in 4th stage, so there was a chance that I had to be in surgery within 48 hours or I would have passed away. And I went in surgery 24 hours after my diagnosis.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what did you encounter? What was it like?
Well, it was, first of all, scary because you're going into the unknown. But then the fear of what is really going to happen to your life. I never thought about having a living will. I never thought about a funeral. I never thought where my daughter would be if she didn't have a mom. So there's a lot of things that all of a sudden the stress builds up in your life, which I think at the time of any type of disease that you're diagnosed with, the stress adds to the tension of the family and, the disease itself. So, yeah.
Well, some would think like, wow, you were dealt with a bad hand, but how did you live through the knowledge of that? What was your typical day of dealing with?
In the beginning, it was horrible, and I will tell you that's why we have the Cancer Center, because I've lived it. So when someone walks into our Cancer Center here, I actually know what they're feeling, that it's normal to be like this and depressed, and that you just don't know. I went through a lot of emotions throughout the years. I lost my house. I had to declare bankruptcy. I was homeless in a hotel when I was very, very sick. But you keep moving forward. I mean, you keep on thinking, if I can just make it through one more day, I might get better. So, because there's never a true hope that you're going to get better, but there's always that hope that if I can just push forward one more day, if I can just make one more treatment, it'll be okay. Yeah.
You mentioned about they didn't have a lot of resources and help. Did you have a support system to help you get through what you was going through?
I was actually very lucky. My husband became not only a husband who worked, he became a father to run our daughter all over to sports and school, and he became the full-time caregiver of me. He became the full-time person who took care of the bills and paid everything. He became a mother, father, and sole supporter of a family all within 24 hours. So there was really, I had my husband and my daughter, but there was, as far as community resources, there was hardly anything. That's why we opened the center. On my 5th surgery, laying there before I went under, my husband and I promised each other that we would somehow find resources for cancer families. And that's how the center became what it did to this day.
So can you tell more about your center, what services you offer? And
we're a nonprofit 501(c), which is a fully licensed and accredited cancer center and resource center. We take care of not only the cancer survivor, we take care of the whole family, and we take care of any type of cancer. So we're not limited to child cancer or breast cancer. We take care of whatever walks through our front door. We have a full salon with wigs, makeup, hygiene, hats, scarves. We have a kids' room, which is filled with toys, not only for our kids in treatment, but also for the family kids who a lot of time get left out in the situation because everyone's focused on the disease instead of the children. We have a computer lab, which I put anywhere from 65 to 70 middle school and high school kids through per day or every other day from the local area because their mom and dad are in treatment and their computer internet's turned off, so they have nowhere to do homework because every school now in 5 counties is on the internet. So they would pretty much fail school if we didn't think about the children in the family, too. We do transportation, we do food baskets, we do some medications, we do free mammograms in October. We, as of the end, on Monday, we will have given away 795 free mammograms to a total of raising $65,000 in 3 years. So that's a great record and a thing. We are completely run by volunteers with no salary, including my executive board from the community. So.
Wow, so you're really giving back
from
what
give everything back. Yeah, everything we can, we give back.
So do the people that you're the people that you're helping and supporting, do they live there?
No. They come into the center. Most of them live in their own homes. Some we've had to get hotel rooms or rented houses because they've lost their house. But no, they don't live here. This is just an actual center where they come in. We have support groups and things like that, too.
You mentioned about your education center. Is that also, do you teach GED or just for them to just come on and learn?
Really, whatever they need. We've had 3 kids go with their GED and continue on finishing school because they actually dropped out when Mom was diagnosed with cancer to help the family out. So we wanted to make sure that that would never stop them from finishing their careers. So we pretty much do what it takes to... This center started in the back seat of my car 8 years ago when we were serving hot meals to cancer families because he would run me to treatment, he would run me to doctors, he would run my daughter to school, to sports, and it was drive-through constantly because there just wasn't time. And so that's when we decided we were going to serve hot meals. And that's how this center started. And 8 years later, we're in the building, and we're in the process of buying this building. So, yeah.
How has starting the center helped you?
Well, actually, it has given me a great grace to give back, to also make the families feel that they're not uncomfortable with what they feel and what they do. And I say this highly because we do divorce counseling, we do grief counseling, things like that. But, you know, to be very honest, when someone comes in and says, I've had it, I can't do this no more, I just want to end this and get rid of this disease, I know that feeling. And it's not uncommon, and it's not wrong in life. We just have to find a little bit of light right now in that tunnel to keep you going for one day. You know, and that gives me the honor and grace to do this because I've saved someone's life. Out of our mammograms, this past October, we did 200 mammograms. 19 women were diagnosed with 4-stage breast cancer. The cancer facility we work with, pro bono, is doing treatment for them. Those women would have died. They would have never had a mammogram. They would have never taken care of themselves, and it would have been too late. So,
wow.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
So do you believe that what you went through was for your purpose now, to save others?
Yeah, I believe that it was God's grace. At the time, I didn't. No, I had no idea. And I felt the same feelings everyone else did. Why me? Why did you choose me? I'm not ready for this, you know. But now I do know that the disease became a blessing.
So I want to backtrack a little bit. We tend to have a hard time when we're dealing with something to have people take care of us. How did you handle being taken care of by your family?
That's really a good question. Well, I'll tell you, it's very hard to ask for help. The first 2 years, I never told my church I had cancer. I would go to church, be sick, go home. People ask me why I was losing weight. How come my hair looks funny? Didn't I style it that day? Or, why is it those bits? I couldn't. But once I asked for help, then it became easier because the pressure became relieved off me. Mm-hmm. And people want to help, they just don't know how to help. And that's why the center is so prominent in a lot of ways, because you don't have to have money to give to this center. You might have garbage bags that you bought too many of, and that will help a family, or hygiene products, or buy one, get one free at the grocery store, and you could provide food for a cancer family that day. So it's just a little thing. So you can come in here and call a family to find out how they're doing, or if we can help them in any way. We do an average right now per week of about 46 families for transportation in order so the spouse can work and not lose their job and still pay their bills.
Wow. So is the cancer center only located in Apopka, or are you thinking of branching out? Or?
Well, it's located, our building is in Apopka. We go to 5 counties right now. We go wherever the cancer need is. So we started doing just local cancer families in Apopka, but the need is so much throughout, like the central Florida, the whole state. I go to Marion County to help 3 families up there. So, yeah, we go where it's needed.
Wow, so do you also go and get people that's not able and bring them here to your campus, or do you go with some people and help them where they are, like in their homes, or do you help them come to where you are?
Both.
Okay.
If they're unable to come to the center, a group of volunteers goes to their house. We fill out the paperwork, see what they need, and then we take them stuff. If they're able to come here, it's easier for us to have them come here because then they have a different atmosphere and a place to go that they know that they can talk with other people, or come in and not feel embarrassed if they need hygiene laundry soap because they haven't washed all week. So it kind of depends upon the family and where they are at the time.
What do you think some of the greatest challenges people with cancer face?
Financial. I just, the other day, I had a lady come in here. She's diagnosed with a liquid chemo, brand new medicine. She has to take it for 6 months, 5 days a week. Each pill is $5,000. That's more than her mortgage would ever add up. And so now she's put in this position to keep her house or keep her life. Financial is a big thing. People have to make choices then. Do I buy groceries or do I take treatment? Do I sell my car and TV? Do I stay alive? It becomes a battle. Yeah, and especially if you're in and out of the hospital, all the time, or you max out your insurance, or, it's just the financial end of it. And it doesn't just affect that person, it affects the whole family. Like this past 2 weeks, we put 6 kids from each high school, we have 2 high schools here in Apopka, to homecoming because their parents are in treatment. They can't afford homecoming tickets. They can't afford the dinner and the nice dress up. So we brought them in here, got them dressed up, rented a limo, and off they went to homecoming so that they would not be left out of their senior years.
Wow, that's amazing. You're doing such an awesome thing. I'm just so blown away of what God is doing in your life.
I don't think it's all me. I 100% believe it's the Lord, but I also believe the Lord has sent me a great group of volunteers that their heart is in it just as much as mine.
Mm-hmm. I get it. It's a team effort.
It is a team effort.
Yeah, we are, and you're just showing me, and I'm sure the listeners too, that it takes a village. It's not just one individual person doing everything.
And the big part of raising a village is open your back door and see the problems.
That's really
If you
good.
open your back door, you will see what your village needs. Yeah.
Since starting the center, what do you think had been the greatest impact on you and the people you're serving?
I would say the fact of the resources that we provide, the fact that the security that they know they won't be homeless, they won't go without food, even to find doctors. I have a referral list of doctors I can call and they will help me. I think even for counseling, group sessions, just to come in and have a place where you can go and they're truly going to help you. Because every resource I send them to, be it a doctor, be it a place for an imaging for a mammogram or an ultrasound, I personally go and check that out first so that they're not filling out paperwork, waiting in line, and then told, oh, no, we can't take care of you, or, oh, no, you make too much money, you don't qualify. I make sure that my families are taken care of.
Do the people that you serve who had cancer and survived cancer, do you see them coming back and volunteering their services as well? Or
Yes, usually. Yeah. Or they will call me and call another cancer family if they have the same type of cancer, just to let them know that it's okay, that they're going to go through these symptoms and it's all right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we talked a lot about you, and we talked a lot about the your team and everybody that you're that is supporting you and the community. I want to turn the focus a little bit to your family, because I know that when you're dealing with a lot of things in your own personal life, your family is also in that struggle.
Yeah.
They're also in that battle with you. How did your family, your husband, your daughter, handle what the doctor said and the care? And
Well, first of all, the hardest thing of a disease is to be a caregiver. If you talk to my husband, his story is amazing as far as caregivers, because not only did he have to do everything for our family, he didn't know day to day if I would survive. So then he had all the thoughts of, how do I raise a child by myself? How do I tell a child that there's a chance your mom might not make it? So everything is put back on them. I have a wonderful husband. I have a hero beyond heroes, because not only has he gone through the disease, he is co-owner of this facility, and he does fundraising with me. He helps out here. He helps out there. So he has become very active in the center that way, too. But I'll be honest, the toughest person was my daughter. My daughter would look at me and say, why did God do this to us? We never stole nothing. We never killed no one. We go to church. And you don't have the answers for her. So, plus you're sick. So it was very difficult for my daughter to go to school and say, I can't do this today because my parents don't got money. Or, we can't go here because my mom's sick. I think it's harder on the kids than it is on anyone else.
so even in that process of them having to take care of you as well as to take care of themselves, and we know that it was definitely God that brought you through. What else did you do to help yourself as well to become healthy? Because I know with the medication and I know the surgeries has helped, and definitely the love of your family has helped. But what other things did you have to do yourself?
Okay, well, I was so sick that no doctor would take care of me here in the state of Florida. So my cancer doctor contacted Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, and I went into a clinical trial, which they accepted me, and that is probably the only thing that has saved my life. Clinical trials are very important in life if you can get into them, and you have to have a good doctor who knows which ones you can qualify or things like that. But I didn't know anything about it, and he looked it up, and he's like, you're flying to Durham, North Carolina, and that's where you're going to live for a while. And I went through the clinical trial, and to this day, I've never had problems.
Mm.
So it's hard to say. You have to look for research. Alternative medicine, alternative diets work for some people. But my thing about that is you have to look and search for what works for you individually, because what works for your neighbor might not work for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So each body is different. Each thing takes, your body takes things differently. So if I was to tell you, go do acupuncture, it worked. I was without pain, but it might make you in more pain than you could ever imagine. So that's why, I never recommend anything like that. I give you different avenues, and you need to explore it and see what you feel comfortable doing with it. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. But we're very lucky nowadays. There's a lot more resources and a lot more advancement on, like, liquid chemo. Instead of laying there 8 and 10 hours getting red chemo, now they don't cut you open, they just cut near the tumor site. So we've gotten great strides into trying to improve the quality of life of cancer patients.
Mm. What would you say to someone who come to you and say, Debbie, I can't do this anymore. I am like totally done. I'm just fed up, and that's it.
Well, the first thing would be, that's okay. That's not unusual. Because I'll be honest, I planned out suicide. I could have told you to the day and time I was going to do it. And being a Christian woman, I said to the Lord, if you don't give me an answer, I'm done. The answer from the Lord for me was 24 hours later, my daughter was pregnant with my first grandchild. So I knew I had to fight. But in some cases, there isn't that fight. So you have to find something that's important in their life, be it their children, their husband, mom or dad, be it a wedding they need to go to. And if you can convince them that they just have to live to that point, that's all we're asking right now. We're not asking them to live for 5 years or 10 years, because that's too long of a time for them to even think about. Mm-hmm. It's usually day to day. If you can get them to live a week, and they come back in the center, you're like, okay, you made it this week. So now all we have to do is one more week. And, or break down their chemo days. Most chemo's given 4 or 5 days a week. Okay, you just got to get it through the first 2. And when they get through, okay, we only got 2 more. You already did the first 2. So it's just things like that. You'll have to give them that little air of hope. Mm-hmm. Little by little, and it has to be baby steps. It can't be a huge step, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. How did you deal with the down days?
I'm very Christian. My Bible, my pleading with the Lord. I didn't go out much because I was very, very sick. I had 5 surgeries. I was disabled. I couldn't walk. I lost 65 pounds. It was just so. Sometimes just opening the curtains and sitting on the porch was wonderful to me because I was able to get up. So yeah, you just have to find a little niche. I highly believe the Lord hung onto my hand and just kept dragging me through it, and kept saying, "If you don't make it, you're going to be in trouble." I would have told you that then because
yeah, you wasn't thinking about that.
No, I would have told him I don't want to go through it no more. Take me back.
Well, he definitely he had a plan for you. We can definitely see that in the play, even right now. As we're talking and you're sharing your life story, God definitely sustained you.
Yes, He did. And it's funny because a lot of people say that, but back then I would have never told you that was the purpose or point. I would have told you, if he would have said so, no, you're crazy. Don't pick me. Don't pick me. I don't want to do this. And I can see that in a lot of my cancer patients. I didn't sign up for this. Why are you doing this? So. But I'm very blessed that he did, because I have so many stories from the center, and I'll be honest, I sent 2 children to St. Jude's a month ago, deathly ill with leukemia, and they were actually back on Monday playing in the kids' room. So they're miracles to me, you know. So through that process of getting them to St. Jude's, they were saved. But yet they're back playing in the kids' room like healthy little kids. And, yeah, I have a lot of blessings from.
When you was talking, I was just picturing people like drowning in the water, and you're throwing the life preservers.
And that's about what cancer does. It does really make you drown. I know there's a lot of other diseases out there. I've never been affected by any other disease. So it is, and it doesn't make just you drown. It sucks the family and your anyone you're related to down with you. And that's a tough situation. Yeah.
You not only deal with the cancer person, do you also minister and care for their families? Do they go through a process too, or how is that working for when the family becomes caregivers unexpectedly? Well,
we do support groups, but we care for the whole family. We take care of the children in the family. They're allowed to do their homework. We have support groups for the kids. For the caregivers, we will go grocery shopping for them so they can focus on what they're doing. We will do transportation for whoever in the family needs it to make sure that they can keep working and not worry about the financial end of it. We do a lot that way, you know, food baskets, hygiene stuff, so that disability papers, things like that, just so that it makes it easier so that they can function on an everyday thing. I have 3 kids in the high school who play football, who wouldn't play football this year because the gear cost too much to play. Before, years ago, that was all paid for. Now the families pay for that stuff. So the center paid for that so they could continue playing football and not have to be taken off the team because they can't afford it, you know. So those are the things people don't think about when this, you know, affects a family or a child comes to school and, yeah, they don't have new tennis shoes on because their mom can't afford it, you know. Sometimes it's not because the parents can't afford it, it's because of a disease.
Well, what has been the most, what has meant the most to you during this whole process?
I think growing as big as we have, we've gone in 8 years from the back of my car to now working on, within the next 2 weeks, owning a building in Apopka, serving. We started out with 4 families. We now serve 235 families per week and 95 children. I think that's the greatest gift God could ever give me because I know I'm reaching them. I know they're getting services they need, and they have a comfortable, safe haven to call or be with, and other family members that are in the same situation. So, yeah, I think that's the greatest gift because I never thought this would grow this big. And to be able to continue to provide free services. Everyone told me the first year, you're going to shut down, you're not going to be able to provide free services. I'm 8 years as a nonprofit and never have charged anyone for the services we've given.
Well, Debbie, I am so, again, overwhelmed with what God is doing in your life and how you're impacting not just every person that you come in contact with, but you're reaching out to all of the community.
Yeah.
In closing, can you please let our listeners know how to contact you?
Yes, you can call the center Monday through Friday from 10 to 4 at 407-464-0978, or go on the website at www.wecareapopka.org, or just come visit the center at 229 East 5th Street, Apopka, Florida, 32702. And once you walk in the door, I can talk about this forever, but you'll see something totally different, and the magic happens when you walk through the door.
Well, thank you very much, Debbie, for coming on and sharing your life experiences.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Live with Necee. I am your host, Opal Bailey. Have a blessed day.